That's where we got married.
Better than my pizza, Naftali Liner has soup tonight.
Hey, should I mute everybody?
Somebody's very loud tonight back there. Are we ready?
Shackle, you're good.
We got to mute whoever it is that's making all that noise. Good? Fine. Okay, Chazara from yesterday. Yeah, let's review. Can you hear me well? Yes? Shake the head. Yes? Okay.
Just hope that was my thumb.
There you go. Okay, just to review yesterday, we just said, okay, my mem dalet and aleph, right? The Mishnah says when there's a mixture of ikar and tuffle, the bracha is always said on the ikar, right? You always say the bracha on the main thing, right? Then the Gemara says that the salt in the Mishnah, because the Mishnah says that if you have a salty food, that's considered the main thing, even though bread is normally considered the main thing. But in this situation, salt is the main food, and you don't even make a bracha on the bread. But we said we're talking about the very sweet fruits of Eretz Yisrael, where you have to add on salt. That's how sweet they are. Then the Gemara goes through a bunch of cases of the abundance of the fruits in Eretz Yisrael. And the next Mishnah is Machlokes and Birchas Hamazon is said after fruits, right? There are some opinions that say after fruits you make Birchas Hamazon. Then Rabbi Kiva says that any food that makes you live requires Birchas Hamazon, meaning whatever you're going to be satisfied with. And then the bracha Rishana on drinks. And then the Gemara says the reasons for Machlokes is why you would make a bracha on fruits. Then we went through the nusach of Alamichya and how to finish the bracha of Achron on fruits, meaning if in Eretz Yisrael, we said that you say al peroi seha, and if you every place else, you say al ha peros. Right? And Amud Beis, we just said the bracha borei nefashos, and we said anything requires a bracha afterwards except for psamim. Right? But of course, we have to make sure we repeat this, that there is an opinion that says that vegetables do not get a bracha achrona because there's nothing really much in it. Right? Then we had a whole Gemara about how healthy eggs are. And then the Gemara went through benefits of different foods. And then we said somebody who drinks water because of choking won't make a bracha. And then on Amud Aleph, we said the minhag is to make borei nefashos after eating, not making borei nefashos before eating. Okay, that's a review. Now we start a new Perek Shlosha Sha'achlu, which is all about the halachas of benching. Okay, so Shlosha Sha'achlu kachas, 3 people that are sitting together and eating together as one. Yeah, chayav and lezamin, then they have to make a mezuman. Achal demai, if you ate demai, which is a suffix of truma, which we'll discuss in the Gemara. All these cases we'll discuss in the Gemara. U'maiser rishon shenatlu truma say, that's maiser that the truma was taken off. Maiser sheni, that's the maiser sheni, that's the maiser you take off after you give to the Levi. The hektish sheniftu, and then hektish that you redeemed. Shamash achal kazayis, and the shamash, the guy, your waiter, basically eats the kazayis. He could also join in the mezuman. Bakusi. And a kusi, that's a machlokes is whether they're actually Jewish or not. So then, mezamna love, you can make a mezuman on them. Ochal tevel, these are just all the opposite cases, which the Gemara is going to discuss in a couple of lots, why it has to go through the opposite cases. Right? You can't use a goy in your mezuman. You do not make a mezuman on women, but we're going to discuss that too. Okay? Until how much do you make a mezuman? Ad kazayis, you make a mezuman up until a kazayis, not meaning at the minimum of a kazayis, until a kabeya. This is an interesting line. What does the Gemara want with this? Until how much do you make a mezuman? Right? So Rashi says, how much does the person who's going to lead the mezuman, how much does he have to have? Right? If he has less than a kazayis, then he can't lead the mezuman, but he could answer the mezuman. Okay? So that's the Mishnah. So Gemara says, how do you know that you make a mezuman? Where do we get that from? It says Gadlu, which is a plural, which means two. Lashem, to Hashem, iti with me. So that's a total of three. When we'll uplift literally his name together. So we see from that three people have a requirement to bench Hashem. Yeah. In the name of Hashem, I will call. Right. So that's a lashon yachid. That's one person. Havu gaidol. Havu is a plural. So let's give greatness to Hashem. So therefore, you see it's a total of three. Okay. So that's how you know that you have to make a Mezuman. Amar Rav Chanan bar Abba. How do you know that the person answering Amen, and we passed it like this? I don't know exactly how we get around this, like in shuls when the chazan says at 1 decibel level and everybody screams and yells after him. But oh shoot, there's a cop. Wow, they're actually giving tickets. Okay. Yeah. So what are we saying here? So how do we know that? How do we know that somebody that cop's making me move? All right, we're gonna try driving and giving a daf shir at the same time. Okay. I hope. How many tickets will I get? Okay. So how do you can't say amen any louder than the chazan. All right. So how do you know? So hold on, I'm pulling it right over here. Whoa, they went the phone. Sorry about that.
We can all wait. How about you not do anything?
I just don't worry about it. I just moved over a few feet. Where we at? Yeah. So how do you know that somebody should not answer amen louder than the person making the bracha? We should uplift Hashem's name together. So together means we should do it on the same decibel level. Back then, when they read the Torah, so they had somebody translating, and or Gemara Shiurim also. They had the Maggid Shir would say it in Hebrew, and then they would have somebody translate it. So how do you know that he shouldn't raise his voice louder than the person reading the Torah, right? Moshe spoke, and the Elohim really, Yanenu B'kol. She'ein Talmud Leimer B'kol, right? So what does that have to say B'kol? Of course it's with a voice, right? How else is he answering? Umat Talmud Leimer B'kol, what is the word B'kol teaching you? B'kol Hashem Moshe. It's the same voice as loud as Moshe. Yeah. The translator is not allowed to lift his voice louder than the one reading. And if let's say the translator has a very low voice, so then so then the one reading should lower his voice so that both voices are on the same decibel level. Okay, fine. That's a little tangent there. The Gemara went off. Now we're back to benching. So Itmar. So we said that a Mezuman is with three. What about two? Itmar, Shnayim She'achlu Kavas, two people that ate together, obviously bread. Can they're certainly not required to make a Mezuman. But what happens if they want to make a Mezuman? Can two people eating together make a Mezuman? So you have a machlokes and we don't know who says which opinion, but we know that one opinion is that they can make a Mezuman, the other opinion is they cannot. Right? So Tanan, Gemara is going to bring 4 questions on this. Tanan, the Mishna says 3 people that are eating together is one chayav and lezamin. They're chayav to make a mezuman. Shloisha in shnayim loy. So 3 would be required. That's what it sounds like in the Mishna. 3 can make a mezuman, 2 cannot. Right? So when the answer is no, hasam chayva hacha rishus. That's not a proof. There in our Mishnah, it's saying that you're required. 3 are required to. Doesn't mean that 2 can't. Right? 2 could also, but 3 have to, which we're going to get to also. When it means it has to, mean you cannot split up. Once you sit down with 3 people to eat, nobody could leave until you make a mezuman. Right?
1 second. You could do two without another person answering?
No. That's the Gemara's question. The Gemara's asking, can two people do it or not? Right? That's what the Gemara is asking. So the Gemara is being approved for our Mishnah. Our Mishnah says three can, three have to. Right? So it's saying not mashma three, two can't. So the Gemara is answering that means three have to, but two doesn't mean two can't. Two it's optional. Right? That's the Gemara's answer now. Toshima, the Gemara is going to say similar. Three people that eat together, they have to make a Mezuman, and they're not allowed to split up. Meaning, once you sit down and eat with three people, they're not allowed to split up until you make a Mezuman. Shloisha in, shnayim loy. Sounds like three could split up, and three cannot split up, two can. Right? Meaning two don't have to not split up. That's the lashon. Shnayim loy, meaning two can just leave whenever they want. Gemara answers, Shani also know there's different. The kavulu b'chayva me'ikara. But when there was three, they had a chiyuv. Once it was chal on them, a chiyuv. I mean, once they ate, three guys together ate, and one of them is not allowed. Even one is not allowed to leave. But two, who says that's what it's going to be, right? Meaning two, maybe they didn't have the chiyuv, so then they wouldn't have to. They would be able to split up. Okay. Toshima, another question. Hashamash shayim, hashamash alashnayim. So you have the shamish who's the waiter, right? So the waiter's with them, and he's got two people that he's being the waiter for. He's allowed to eat with them. Even if they didn't give him permission to eat with them, he could eat with them, and they can keep him part of the Mezuman. But let's say he is the shamish for three. He cannot eat with. He doesn't eat with them unless they have to give him permission for them to eat. For him to allow him to eat with them, right? So what do you see? What's the proof from there, right? Yeah. But if two have to make a Mezuman, right? If it's two make a Mezuman, so then why do they need the third guy? He should need permission when two also. Meaning the reason why I was saying by two he doesn't need permission is because they need three. Right? So they need three, so then there's a reason to have permission. Three, they don't need him, so that's why he has to ask permission to eat. So, right? So clearly two cannot. Right? So Shani Hasam, the Nicha, hold on a second. Shani Hasam, the Nichalu, the Mikfalu, B'chayva. No, they would rather have a Chiyav, meaning they could really make a Mezuman with two, but they would rather do it in a situation where they're actually Chayav to make a Mezuman as opposed to optional. Right? Two is only optional, three actually required. So, and we know the rule is that it's better to do something that you're required to do than to do it optional. Right? That's what Rashi says. Yeah? And then the fourth case, Toshima Noshim Mizamnes Latzno, Bavadim Mizamnes Latzno. Now we're going to get back to this because this is a very important halacha. Women could make a Mezuman themselves, and Avadim can make a Mezuman themselves. Right? Slaves and women can make a Mezuman themselves. But if it's women and slaves and minors together, then they're not allowed to. All right? So now, again, the Gemara is saying that women can make their own set. You have three women eating together, they can make a Mezuman. Avodim eating together, they can make a Mezuman. Right? But a mixture of all of them, then they cannot. Yeah? So the Gemara says, 100 women, which is optional, is the same as two men. And we see that women are allowed to make them. Meaning, what the Gemara is saying is that 100 women is the same as two men. Meaning, they don't have to make a Mezuman, but they can make a Mezuman. Right? So you see that two men should be able to make a Mezuman. So we say, Shani Osam Deikadeyas. No, there at least you have three women with brains, meaning you have three brains doing a Mezuman. When two, if the halacha requires three brains, so two men don't have three brains, right? So therefore, 100 women or three women is better because at least you're meeting the requirement of three as opposed to two men. You're not.
Yeah, what's the Hava mean? We have two psukim that both are pointing to the three.
That's when you're required. That's what the Gemara is saying. The
Rishus. Yes, the Rishus to do it here.
Right? So if that's the case, and all you need is 3 brains, so then why can't women do it together with avodim? Women and avodim, if they want to make a mezuman, they're not allowed to. There's brains there, avodim and nashim. So the Gemara answers, there it's pritzus. If for avodim and women to make a mezuman together, that's pritzus. We're afraid that there's going to be messing around. Yeah. Now what is the story with women in a mezuman? Okay, this is a halacha that many women are not aware of, right? So it's actually a machlokes rishonim if women are allowed to make their own mezuman or not. From here, the Gemara seems very clear that women can make their own mezuman, which me'ikar din is what we do paskin, that women can make their own mezuman. However, the way the Shulchan Aruch says the lamais is that they're certainly not mechuyev too. But what it does say is that when women eat together with men, then they're required to be part of the mezuman. Meaning, Friday night, Shabbos day, you have 3 men sitting at the table, and women are eating together with you. A woman can't just bench, just like a man just can't bench and leave. Women are not allowed to bench and leave either. That is very clearly the halacha, and many women are not makbid on this, right? So there's all sorts of ways in the Paiskin they discuss how women get around it, right? You know what I'm saying? The women, they decide they finish cleaning up, and then they just decide they're going to sleep, and the men are all hanging out, right? So that's really la halacha that's not proper. What they rely on basically is an opinion that says that when that the chiyuv of the mezuman only happens when they decide to bench. Whoever's there at the time of benching, those that are not there at the time of benching don't have to be part of it, right? So even though we do not paskin like that, but that's what you rely on. So I'm going into a wedding now. You have the same issue. You sit down and wash at a wedding, and you're part of the wedding meal. Then you can't leave and bench by yourself because you have a requirement to be part of the mezuman. So that's an easy way out. That you just say to yourself, you're not eating, even though you're sitting at the wedding or whatever meal it is, but you're not participating. You're eating by yourself. Then of course you have the yeshiva dining room issue, which is that is the yeshiva dining room considered eating together or not? Because you really may not. You just happen to be sitting next to people. Doesn't mean that you're actually eating with them. I think the popular psak in yeshivas is that you do not have to make a mezuman. Guys are coming and going, different schedules. You don't have to wait around for guys, right? Anyway, so that's the story with women. There's only one time where we do consider women as part of the mezuman, and that is on Pesach by night, when by Pesach by night. So whoever's leading the Seder should say Haidul Hashem Kitov, by Halal. So then everybody has to repeat after him. As long as there's 3 people there, the 2 people answer, the one leading the Seder. So women do count. Their women do count as part of it. Okay? Fine. So you have and then there's one other question that maybe, I don't know if you guys should have asked or not. We just got finished saying that women and men shouldn't be together as part of Mezuman, right? We said avadim and men shouldn't be part of Mezuman. It applies with strange men and strange women also. So how come they could be part of the Mezuman, the women? Right? So we answered that that's only when they're part of the 3. If it's more than 3, then they're not really part. They're just listening in. So then that would be okay. Yeah? Everybody's quiet tonight. Fine. Okay, now the Gemara is going to try and figure out who says what. Because we said there were 2 opinions, and we didn't know who was who. Right? So the Gemara says, what is it? Tistayim, right about 8 lines down. Tistayim, the Rav, the Amar, and Rasul Zaman, name is Zamnin. Let's say that it's Rav that says in Rasul Zaman, name is Zamnin, that if they want to make a mezuman, women are not allowed. 2 are not allowed to. Daf Yomi Berachos, Shaכלו. 3 people eating together. One goes out to the street. We call him and we make the mezuman with him. Time with the the reason why you can make the mezuman is because you called him. But if you wouldn't have called him, then you wouldn't be able to make a mezuman. So you see very clear that 2 people can't make a mezuman. Otherwise, why would you have to call the guy out from the street? And what answers like we said before. No, there's when 3 started eating. So therefore, 3 started eating, you got to call the guy back. But if there's only 2 from the beginning, then that maybe you wouldn't have to call a 3rd. right? So we disprove that. At this time, the Rabbi Yochanan let's say it's Rabbi Yochanan who says if they want to make a zimun, they're not allowed to. Two people eating together. One can be yaitze with the benching of his friend. We discussed what's the chiddush of that. We know a rule that if you hear somebody make brachas and you don't answer amen, you're still yaitze, right? That's a big misunderstanding. People think that you have to answer amen to kiddush. Whenever somebody's making yaitze, you have to answer amen. It is not true. You do not have to answer amen to be yaitze. You will be fully yaitze if you don't answer amen. You're supposed to answer amen because it's a mitzvah to answer amen to a bracha, but that has nothing to do with whether you're going to be yaitze. You're going to be yaitze even without amen. Whatever it is, we see that one can be yaitze somebody else. What it means to tell you is that they don't have the option of making a Mezuman. That's why one has to say Birchas for the other one, right? So Tistayim. So that's yes. So that is what it must be, and that must be Rabbi Yochanan, the one that says that you cannot make a Mezuman. Two can't make a Mezuman. Amar lei. So then invite Amar lei Rava bar Rav Huna v'Harabanan the Osanim Rava Amri Ratzul Zam Mezamnim. Right? They came from Marava, from Eretz Yisrael, and they said if two people want to make a Mezuman, then you are allowed to. My love, the Shmiel Umein Rav Yochanan. Didn't they hear from Rav Yochanan, who was the Rosh Hashiva? He was the Gadol in Eretz Yisrael. So they say, "Loy the Shmiel Umein Rav mekamei denachas Bavel." No, they heard it from Rav in Eretz Yisrael before he went down to Bavel. So it doesn't mean that they heard it from Rav Yochanan. So therefore, the bottom line is Rav Yochanan is the one that says that you cannot be yaitze a Mezuman. Two people cannot make a Mezuman. Okay, Gufa. So then we said. Amar Avdimi ba Yosef Amar Rav Shloisha Shachu Ka'achas the Yosef Echad Miyam the Shuk currently Mizanullah. Three people are eating together, and one of them goes out to the street, so you have to call him back and make the Mezuman, right? Because he wasn't allowed to leave. Amar Abai, who's the Karo Levani? But he has to answer, right? If he just doesn't answer, then that will not work as a Mezuman. Amar Mazucha B'Lei Amar Ela B'Shloisha Basara Adinaisi. That's only by three, but let's say you have a minyan, which means you have to say the word Elikenu, and then one of the guys leaves, then he can't answer from the street. He has to actually come back in. Again, the difference between 3 and 10, the Gemara is saying by 3, the guy can answer from the street. By 10, the guy has to come back in. The Maskal Ravashi, it should be the opposite. The Svara is the opposite. Tisha Nirinka Asara. If you have 9 and one standing outside, you can't really tell the difference between 9 and 10. There should be no reason why the guy should have to come back into the room. Shnayim ain't there in Kishlesha, but 2 doesn't look like 3, so the guy should have to actually come back in the room. The Ilchas of Marzutra, and the halacha is like Marzutra. My time, keeping the boy like Kure Shem Shemayim, since by a Mezuman with 10, you need to actually say Hashem's name, Elikenu, which you don't say when the regular Mezuman of 3. So Batam Yasor Lav Eirach Ara, it's not Derech Eretz to say Hashem's name without having 10 people in the room is not derech eretz. So therefore, the guy has to come back in from the street and actually sit down. Yeah. Amar Abaye Naktinan, we hold Shnaim She'achlu Ka'achas Mitzvah L'Chalik. 2 people that are eating together, it's a mitzvah for them to split up, meaning each one should make their own Birchas Hamazon. Taninam Eochi Shnaim She'achlu Ka'achas, 2 people eating together, Mitzvah L'Chalik. It's a mitzvah for them to split up. That's when they're both Talmidei Chachamim and they're educated enough. Each one can make Birchas Hamazon on their own. Avo, Acha Echad Sefer ve'Echad Bur. But if one is educated and one is a bur, who a bur means he's an Amoret, then Sefer Mavarech a Bur Yaitze. Then what you should do is the Sefer should bench, and the bur should be Yaitze his Birchas Hamazon with the Talmid Chacham. Yeah. Amar Rava. I said this thing over. Rava says I said something, and it was also said in the name of Rav Zera. Kavasi and like me. So let's say 3 guys are sitting down in a restaurant. One guy decides he's leaving, right? So, I'm sorry, 2 guys decide they're leaving. So does the one guy have to stop eating in order to be part of the Mezuman? So he's saying that yes, one has to stop for 2, but the 2 don't have to stop if one has to leave. Again, it's a very common scenario. 3 guys sitting together and eating. This is more common in yeshivas. Three guys are eating together. One guy says he's leaving. Can you make him a zimun? The other two guys say, no, we're not stopping to eat in order to accommodate you. But if two guys are leaving, then the one guy does have to accommodate, right? So when it says borei, it's not true. Rav Papa iftiklei la'ava mar borei. So Rav Papa did stop. He was eating. He was two of his son, his son and a friend wanted to leave. I'm sorry. Rav Papa, how does it go? Yes. So Rav Papa gave in, even though it was 2 versus 1. It was 1 versus 2. So he shouldn't have had to give in, but he gave in anyway. So you see that you do have to give in. Shani. Rav Papa Rav Papa was even though he did not have to stop his eating, he did it anyways. It was him and a friend, and he didn't have to stop it, but he did it anyways as respect. Am I saying that correct? I think I'm mixing that up. Yeah, meaning Rav Papa convinced his friend to stop. So we say Rav Papa is different in order because he did a sunnah mishura sadin. Yeah. I just lost the place. Okay. First white line. Yehuda bar Merema Marba Rav Ashi Rav Acha Medifti Orchi Rifta Ba'adei Adadi Karchi Rifta. I'm sorry. Karchi Rifta Ba'adei Adadi. They were eating bread. Karchi Rifta. We had that lashon a few times. They literally means they made sandwiches with each other. Neither one of them was more chashuv than the other in order that one of them should lead, right? You always want to give the person who's the most chashuv to bench. So neither one of them was more chashuv than the other, so they didn't know what to do, right? So they had a question. This that we say that 3 people that eat as one are chayav nezamin. That's only where there's one of them is better than the other, so therefore he's the one that leads the benching. But where everybody is the same level, filik brachas adif. And then splitting up the brachas is better, meaning each person should bench by themselves. So baruch so each one made a bracha to themselves because they thought that Mezuman is only when there's one person that's better than the rest, but not when they're all equal. Also looking at the Marema, they came in front of Marema, Amalahu, Yidei bracha yitzasim, you were yaitza birchas amazing, Yidei zimun la yitzasim, but you missed the mitzvah of zimun because you did not paskin correctly. Okay, so maybe now let's make a Mezuman right now, even though we benched. So he says, ain't zimun l'mafreya. No, that you cannot do zimun. Once you missed it before benching, you cannot do zimun after benching, right? That's why a person, once he benches, he can no longer be he can't be counted part of the Mezuman. But the truth is, if one benched and 2 didn't bench, and the one that benched by mistake, then he can be part of the Mezuman, which we'll get to. Okay? Let's say you're sitting down. This is also a common question. You're sitting down, you come late, you come to visit your friend's meal, and they didn't bench yet, and you're not benching because you benched at home, right? But they're benching. What do you answer them? Because they're sitting and benching Hashem, so to sit there quietly would not be a proper thing to do. What you'd say is Baruch Mubarak. That's the end of the lashon. You just say Amen. But like pleading, there's no machlokes. Meaning again, Razvid say you say Baruch Mubarak. Papa just says you say Amen. But there's no disagreement. One is talking about where you heard them say Nevarich Shachana Mishalai, right? Where they're saying Baruch. So when it's Nevarich, so then it's saying let us bench. So then you say Baruch Mubarak. Once they already said Baruch, then what you do is you answer Amen. Yeah, we're following that, depending on where they're up to by the Birchas Hamazon. Right? If they're saying Nevarich, let us bench, so you have to be included in that. So you say Baruch Mubarak. If they already said Baruch Shachana Mishalai, then what you do is you answer. Sorry about that. What you do is you answer Amen. Okay? Yeah, we there? You hear me? Got me? Okay, a few more lines. We learned one thing. We learned that if you say a bracha, Baruch Hashem, and then you say Amen after your own bracha, that's praiseworthy. And then we learned another brisa that said that if you say Amen after your own bracha, that's not good. Like Kasha, One is talking about Bonei yerushalayim and benching, which we say amen afterwards, and one is talking about other brachas where you're not supposed to. Abaya ani lebekola. Abaya answered amen after Bonei yerushalayim with a loud voice. So the workers should hear and get up. Since is not deraisa, meaning the reason why you answer amen after Bonei yerushalayim is because that's when the deraisa finishes, and that's when the fourth bracha starts of the Rabbanan. So you want to be able to show the difference between the first the deraisa brachas and the Rabbanan brachas. So you say amen afterwards, right? So workers who have to work should not be saying, we had this way back in the first Perek, second Perek, whatever it was. Workers should not waste time from working to say the fourth bracha because it's not from the Torah. So Abaya answered amen very loud, so then the workers knew, okay, it's time to get up. We don't say this bracha, right? Rav Ashi only but Rav Ashi said it quietly. Rav Ashi was afraid if you're going to do this loud amen, then people are going to say, oh, Atayv Ametiv is not so important, right? Because it's only midrabanan. Yeah. Okay, that is tonight's daf. I wish you all a good night.
All right, L'chaim, and
Thank
thank
you.
you for not driving while giving shir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Eat that.
And they're really good for complete throat. She's not being straight up.